How is everybody doing? As you probably saw the other day, I did upload this video previously, but I made a huge mistake in it, so I actually had to take it down. I think like 1,000 of you ended up seeing it before I took it down. And the mistake I made was Kobe Bryant wasn't on the team with 5 rings. I had him on the roster, and then I think I accidentally deleted him or something. And then when I started recording, I just never noticed, because when I went back to fix the rosters, he was actually just gone from the rosters. Kobe was not on NBA 2K rosters at all. We have it all fixed up now. For everyone that didn't see the first video, today's video is all-time NBA teams based on players' rings. So we go all the way from players who have never won a ring in their NBA careers to players who have won 6 or more rings. We'll go over each of the teams here, starting off with players, the greatest players to never win an NBA ring. Starting off here, we got John Stockton, Karl Malone, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Elgin Baylor, Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden, George Gervin, Pistol Pete, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Dominique Wilkins, Reggie Miller, and Alex English. Next up, we got players who won 1 ring in their NBA career. We got Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Jerry West, Moses Malone, Clyde Drexler, Jason Kidd, Oscar Robertson, Elvin Hayes, Rick Barry, Gary Payton, Bob Pettit, Julius Erving, Anthony Davis, and Paul Pierce. Moving on, we got players that have won 2 rings in their NBA careers. We got Hakeem Olajuwon, Wilt Chamberlain, Walt Frazier, Kevin Durant, Isaiah Thomas, David Robinson, Kawhi Leonard, Bill Walton, Dave Cowens, Ray Allen, Willis Reed, Bob McAdoo, JoJo White, Pau Gasol, and Rajon Rondo. Next up is players who have won 3 rings. We got Larry Bird, Steph Curry, D. Wade, Kevin McHale, James Worthy, Dennis Johnson, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Jamal Wilkes, Tony Kukoc, Andre Iguodala, Rick Fox, AC Green, and BJ Armstrong. Next up is players who have won 4 rings. We got LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, Tony Parker, Robert Parrish, Manu Ginobili, Horace Grant, Kurt Rambis, John Sally, and Will Perdue. Now, there are 2 players that won 4 rings, but since they played in the 50s and early 60s, they're actually not in the game. Those 2 players are going to be Pep Saul and Bill Sharman. Next up, we got players with 5 rings. We got Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant is now on the team, George Mikan, Dennis Rodman, Michael Cooper, Ron Harper, Derek Fisher, Steve Kerr, and Larry Siegfried. There are 3 players that should be on this team, but they're actually not in the game. Again, because they played in like the early 50s and 60s, so they're not on the team. And that's going to be Slater Martin, Don Nelson, and Jim Pollard. And now moving on to our final team, this is going to be players who have won 6 or more rings in their career. And I'll actually go over this team by the amount of rings they have won. So we'll start off with the highest and then go down to the lowest. We got Bill Russell, who won 11 rings. Sam Jones, who won 10 rings. John Havlicek, who won 8 rings. Tom Heinsohn, who won 8 rings. KC Jones, who won 8 rings. And Tom Sanders, who also won 8 rings. Next up, we got Robert Horry, who won 7 rings. And we also have one other player that won 7 rings. That's going to be Frank Ramsey, but he's actually not in the game. And then moving on to players that won 6 rings, we got Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Scottie Pippen, and Bob Cousy. One other player that won 6 rings was Jim Loscutoff. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he also won 6 rings. Again, just not in the game. So that is going to be all of our teams here. We also have a few other teams, some of the weaker teams in the NBA. Pretty much, I've made a 13-game season. So every team is going to be playing each team 1 time during the regular season. They're going to play the ring teams, and then they'll get a free ring against the current NBA teams, and that'll determine the seeding for the playoffs. Making it to the end of the season, Tim Duncan is going to secure the MVP. 32.5 points per game, 12.5 rebounds, 5.2 assists, and he shot very well as well. Rookie of the Year goes to Obi Toppin. Devontae Graham gets 6-man. Bill Russell is going to get Defensive Player of the Year. RJ Barrett gets Most Improved. A bunch of current players getting some of these awards. And then Billy Donovan gets Coach of the Year. He's the head coach of the Bulls, which is the team with 3 rings, I believe. So they end up going 12-1. Checking out our All-NBA teams, we got Magic, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, LeBron, and George Mikan on the first team. Second team, we got Ginobili, Isaiah Thomas, Elgin Baylor, Karl Malone, and Shaquille O'Neal. And on the third team, we got Bob Cousy, Steph Curry, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Bill Russell. So a lot of the big names actually not getting on these All-NBA teams like Kobe, Michael Jordan, not making it up here, which is kind of surprising. Here's our all-defensive first team and our all-defensive second team. And checking out the standings, it's actually the team with 2 rings that is the Bulls. So they get the best record, 12 wins on the season, 6 or more rings, as well as 3 rings getting 11 wins, 1 ring getting 9 wins, 4 rings, 5 rings, and the team with no rings all getting 8 wins on the season. And then somehow the New York Knicks are going to be the current team. So that actually just gives our top seed a free bye in the first round. And our other matchups, we got 6 versus 0, 3 versus 5, and 1 versus 4. Before we hop into the playoffs, though, let's check out our league leaders. So for points per game, it is going to be 2 players on the same team, Tim Duncan and George Mikan, both with over 30 points per game. Then LeBron, Tony Parker, and Bradley Beal, who is not on any of these teams. He's just on the current Wizards, is going to be in the top 5 as well. And then here is the top 10. Again, SGA up here as well. The reason I put current teams instead of like a team of 40 overalls is just so the stats would be a little more realistic in the regular season. Rebounds per game, we got Kevin McHale, Dennis Rodman, George Mikan, Tim Duncan, and Bill Russell in the top 5. Assists per game, we got Isaiah Thomas with 15.5 assists per game. We got Tony Parker, Magic, Oscar, Bob Cousy, also Manu and LeBron and D-Wade all getting over 10 assists per game. Nobody getting a triple-double or averaging a triple-double throughout the season, though. Steals per game, Talon Wright's on top. Then we got John Havlicek. Blocks per game, we had Shaquille O'Neal with 3.4 blocks per game. And then our three-point percentage, Elgin Baylor shot 57.6%, which is funny because his final year in the NBA was 1972, and they didn't introduce the three-point line till 1979. So kind of funny that he ends up getting the best three-point percentage. Klay Thompson right behind him, though. But let's just hop right into the playoffs and see which team is going to win the NBA Finals. So starting off the first round here, the players with 1 rings are going to sweep the players with 4 rings. Not even a competition here. They're up by 12 in the final game here as well. So they're going to advance to the second round. We have yet another sweep in the first round here. 6 rings going to sweep no rings. Up 135 to 128 here. Only 30 seconds left. So there's really no chance with that bucket from Michael Jordan as well that the players with no rings come back at this point. Pistol Pete from 3, trying to get something going, but he's not going to hit that. And that is going to be our second sweep of the first round. And then, of course, the players with 2 rings are going to sweep the New York Knicks here. Let's just simulate that game because, of course, it was a first round bye pretty much. And then our final game of the first round, 3 rings up 3-1. And they are going to eliminate the players with 5 rings. Let's move on to the second round here. And making it into the NBA Finals, we got a huge upset in the right side of our bracket here. The players with 3 rings upsetting the players that have won 6 or more rings. And then it's a 4-1 victory for players with 1 rings against players with 2 rings. Let's see who's going to win the NBA Finals here. Game number 1 is going to go to 1 ring. Game 2 goes to 1 ring. Game 3 goes to 1 ring. And game number 4, championship on the line. 3 rings are up by 2 points with 43 seconds left. This is to ensure they don't get swept in the finals. Steph Curry from 3. It's no good, though. And Jason Kidd going to come down with the board here. They had a fast break at first. Dr. J inside. That's no good. And Klay Thompson with the board. So 1 ring has to score here. I mean, they don't have to. They still have 3 other games to secure the W. Jerry West from 3. That's going to be no good. And that is game right there. Moving into game 5, we have another super close game. We are all tied up at 110. 3 rings with the ball. Steph Curry from 3. Why did he put up that shot? I mean, I guess that's a good shot for Steph Curry. He can hit those, but I'm not sure about that situation. And 1 for Dr. J. Dr. J going to the line. Now, Dr. J did end up winning 3 rings in his career, but 2 of them were in the ABA and only 1 in the NBA, so that's why he's on the team with 1 ring. So a must-score possession for the players with 3 rings. Of course, they're going to give the ball to Steph Curry here, pulling up from 3, very late release, or very early, should I say. And I think that should be game right there. Players with 1 ring are going to be our NBA champions. And I've actually done this simulation 3 separate times now. Once where I forgot Kobe, another time where I completely forgot to record, and then this is the 3rd time, and every single time, the players with 1 ring have won it. So I think it's fair that they are our champions here. They've earned it. And Kevin Garnett is going to be our finals MVP. He averaged 13.2 points per game, 10.4 rebounds, 6.8 assists. So really low on the points. Surprised that he got finals MVP with that. And he also shot awful from the 3-point line, shooting 12.5%. So interesting that he's the one that ended up getting the award. But that is going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure that you do smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. This has been your boy Smequle, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Never at ease, I don't know a limit. Chasing a dream, I don't know what sleepers. I got a queen, she lit me to evening. She ripe like a peach and she snapped me to snippet. You well overdue for that link up in person. Text me to fall through its murder, she wrote it. Still up with courage, you're doing a service. Pull up to the crib, I'm equipped with the brush strokes. Cut throat from the low, when no love.